to start streaming so I can not have double sound. So I'm just waiting a moment here for the connection to happen, and then I will be able to turn that off. Start streaming. Okay. All right. Oh, thank you for being in video, Tati and Rachel and Katie and Galia. So nice to see you. And Amal, it's okay not to be in video. Welcome. And Sue and Joyce, Wilson, Michelle, Elizabeth. So good to have you guys here. Susan, Sean, Michelle. I'm probably Jolene, Mel, Inez, Bella. I'm not going to be able to probably say everyone's name now, but it's great to be here with you. So I wanted, and if you're seeing this later because you didn't get the announcement, I apologize. We had a little issue with our email going out. So I've been thinking about something a little different today. Meditation will be similar as it usually is in this group, but I wanted just for a moment to check something out with you. And that is, do you ever, I don't know actually how many of you have a regular practice. Maybe I should ask that first. Will you write in the chat if you have a regular practice? Because I'm very curious. So if we don't have a regular meditation practice yet, we might have a lot of things that show up telling us that for some reason we can't have it. So I'm not good at it, or I get distracted, or I would need to be in a certain kind of headspace or a certain emotion to sit and meditate. I'm not ready yet. I don't visualize well, or I visualize too much. I go into a dream state. There can be a lot of things that show up for us that we're in our point of view about meditation, right? Even when we're meditating, let's say we show up to practice and we're meditating. Have you ever said to yourself something like, well, nothing's happening here, or wow, my mind is going in like 1,000 directions, or my body just can't settle down, or something else? What do you say to yourself inside? Does this happen to you? This is normal. This happens to most people, right? When we begin to meditate, we are approaching our practice, of course, from our point of view and from what happens when we're having that practice. But so here's the thought experiment. What if we were to imagine being the meditation practice? So what does that meditation practice experience about you showing up to meditate? So I did this thought experiment, and I'm going to share my slide. I did this very recently this morning. I was like, okay, what would it be like to be the meditation practice's point of view? And um so this is like kind of what I received as I was the meditation practice's point of view. Oh, okay, they've come here again. This space is always here for them. Everything's welcome. Yeah, everything shows up. Oh, distraction happens here. Wandering happens. Attachment happens. Annoyance happens. See, I can enter into this the meditation space point of view, the perspective of the practice. Oh, the body hurts. Oh yeah, now there's nothing. There's space here. There's pain. They're gone, they're back. They're noticing, they're not noticing. But the meditation practice's point of view, what's kind of interesting about it, if we're to do this mind experiment, so just do this for yourself, is does it judge you, or is it just a practice? And it might be easier to do this thought experiment if you're starting a walking practice. Let's say you have an exercise walking practice. Does your morning, let's say you go walking in the morning, does your morning walk say, well, he or she or they are just they're really not in the right state to be walking. Or they're looking over there at that valley instead of over here. Does the walking practice have a lot of judgment? Not really, right? And same with our meditation practice. We can relate to it as a space that we're joining just as we are, with there's no secret code to get in. There's no need to be mystical or um in a good mood. We often talk about having an intention, but there's actually no need to have an intention when you sit to practice. None of that really matters from the perspective of the practice. And what I just think kind of matters is that we show up and practice, even 3 minutes a day that we show up and practice. And it's nice to have little reminders. Like every morning, I use the microwave, and I use my microwave to heat up my almond milk, and I heat it up for like a minute and 30 seconds. And in that minute and 30 seconds, I have a little practice. So even just having little moments, little minutes in the day when we can show up and practice, it's an interesting coming back to that space. Now, if you want to start a daily practice, I really, really want to encourage you, and I want to be there and support you. So whether that's with my meditations, with someone else's, with silence, with nature, with a cup of tea, whatever it is, like I want you to know how much I want to support you in that and help you, and I think it's so important, and this practice's point of view becomes more and more the perspective of the experience of meditation versus the personal that might say, I did a thought experiment with that. What's the meditator's point of view? I've got to be more loving, more peaceful, more zen, more mystical. There might be a voice inside, or two voices, or three voices. There might be a tug of war of voices, right? And then all of that can really build as a like a poison that takes us away from the practice we want. It can be like a really good reason to not practice if it makes us feel nuts or bad about ourselves. Of course, we wouldn't want to do it. If all we feel is itchy, we're not going to want to sit and feel itchy, right? So it's true. We do have that point of view, but when we can enter as a thought experiment that practices point of view, it's quite different. It's a quite different approach to get to. So because I do like having a structure of some kind, I wanted to give you a structure of what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be doing an interesting energy breathing exercise with circles and the color pink, but change the color. If for any reason pink's not your thing, please change the color. I can see Katie likes pink because I see the pink hat. And I only see a certain amount of you on the screen, so um and and then when we're deepening in the practice, I'm going to keep this slide up for me so that I'm aware of staying within some structure as I allow the meditation to unfold naturally. But we are going to, if it's okay with you, have an intention to release anything that we need to let go of in the beginning, kind of as you could call that a clearing of energy. And just that intention of the clearing, you don't have to actually clear anything, but just having that intention of letting go of anything that you don't want to have there in the practice. And an invitation to guides and helpers, angels, source, the universe, God, whatever your resource is, an invitation to bring that in. And then we're going to really be with what is happening with the allowing. And I don't know what's going to come through as the guidance. And really allowing that space of practice to be experienced. We might go between my perspective, as in your perspective, and the broader space of the meditation's perspective. And it's a really cool thing to do. It's really helpful. At least it's really helped me. And then we're going to maybe we'll allow things to dissolve. I don't know. Sometimes our body dissolves. Sometimes our thoughts dissolve. Who knows what'll dissolve? And then we're going to share our healing intentions more globally and in the group. And then we're going to close by coming back to the breathing and the circles and the color. Okay, so that is the plan. You know me, guys. I like to have a plan. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. If you need a sip of water first, or I've been talking a lot, so I need some water. So just kind of take your seat, whatever that means. And I'm going to hopefully be able to show you my hands. So in this first part of practice today, just take a moment to come into yourself now. You've been focusing on what I was sharing on the screen, but what's it like to just first come back into yourself, into your feet, your seat? Maybe just a couple breaths here, just allowing yourself to gather yourself inward. And if you'd like your eyes to be open as I show you the hand position, I'm trying to move a little so you can see more of my hands. We're going to be moving the orientation of our hands as we imagine making circles. So at first, I'm going to make a circle going forward. I'm not going to move my hands, but I'm going to imagine the energy that comes from my hand in kind of a half circle around me, and then the energy that comes from the back of the hand in a half circle behind me, and feeling that flow of the whole circle around the body. And I'm imagining it like heart level. Then we're going to be doing that upper level and lower level, below us, above us. And then in any other orientation, so this hand is down, for that circle to make. So as you imagine it, you don't have to visualize, you can feel or tell yourself. The circle, it's like as if the circle's energy is coming from the palms, radiating in that circle. This one's the diagonal circle. And then from the back of the hands, radiating in that circle. And just trust yourself, have fun with it. Again, you don't need to visualize to do that. You can imagine in your own way or speak it to yourself. When I really can't imagine at all, what I do is I speak it. I tell it like a story to myself. The energy is coming around me this way, it's going behind me this way. And our words help us make that true for us. Okay, so let's begin. And just as you breathe in, feel into your hands, breathing and just feeling the hands' energy. Notice if you want your breath to be long and slow or just normal breathing, whatever feels right today, but being very aware of your breath and of your hands. Now, I have my hands at around my shoulder heart level, and just beginning in your own way to imagine the energy as you, let's say, as you exhale, imagine the energy making a circle from your two palms going in front of you, the circle. And then as you inhale, imagine that circle going behind from the back of your hands around your back body. And now the hands are just midpoints in the circle. So as you breathe, allowing that circle to surround you, and you may want to make it a pink circle or another color that you like. My guides are already saying we're here, so if anyone wants to call in their guides or angels, go ahead if that feels like the right time for you. I was told it was the right time for me, so I share that. So just feeling that circle as you breathe, setting that knowingness of energy coming from the palms in front and behind in a beautiful circle shape, maybe maybe with pink surrounding the circle or in the circle, maybe another color, whatever feels right today. And when you're ready, letting the hands move just slightly so that the palms are facing up. And imagine sending the circle over your head as you breathe. Now, you might feel it coming from both palms at once, or you might feel more from the right and then the left, almost like you're sending a rainbow over your head. Maybe you want to send a rainbow over your head, or the color pink, or just the energy without any color. And then when you're ready, you can move the palms down if that helps you so that you're sending it downward around the bottom of your body, or you can feel it from the back of your hands going around the bottom of your body. And depending on you, just listening and trusting the way you do this. Do you feel the energy already like one big circle going from the hands as the midpoint all around the body above and below? Or do you kind of almost send it like a ball of energy from one hand to the other, and then from the back of the hand to the other back of the hand? Notice your way of doing this. There's not a right way. And just feeling into that as you breathe. You're connecting with these pathways of energy, this protection that comes with the color pink, with the shape of the circle around you. And then if you'd like to make a kind of diagonal circle of some kind, my hands want to get bigger, and just feeling that the hands might shift a little in the way they want to face to feel a beautiful kind of diagonal circle that goes around the body and then on the other side when you're ready. So just noticing that as you breathe in and as you breathe out, and then making sure you do the other diagonal shape, letting the hands be the way they want to be as you do this. My palms want to face kind of outward as I do this, which is interesting. It might be that as you breathe and feel the circle, you come back to feeling the circle in the mid body around the heart level going around. And just breathing and allowing this circle to surround you. This is a little like an energy orbit, and the hands can move if you wish. You can let the wrists make a gentle circle, the hands make a gentle circle. And just knowing that the circle is here as a shape that supports us. If a color is here for you, let the color support you, surround you, inviting your guides and angels, protectors, saying hello to them. And if that feels a little different for you, maybe imagine something in nature that's very soothing, refreshing, invigorating, calming, whatever works for you. A waterfall, a rainbow, a tree, an animal, a river, a lake, a mountain, a flower, a field of flowers, whatever works for you. And when you're ready, just again coming back to the noticing. Maybe the hands want to drop to the lap. And just allowing your upper body to have a flexibility that lets the heart be open, allowing the energy to have space to move in the body. We're just going to check out from the practice's point of view. What's the weather like today? Your meditator is coming. You are the meditator. Is there a weather report? And notice that the practice doesn't mind whatever the weather is. If it's stormy or sunny, still, quiet, loud, the practice's perspective welcomes it all. So just feeling that in yourself a moment, this inner welcome. How do you welcome yourself like a good friend? Is there something you can say to yourself as you sit here, allowing yourself to be as you are, to breathe? Is there a statement you can make that gives yourself permission to be the way you are right now, whatever is happening? It might just be that I give myself permission to be myself right now. And let's take that a little deeper into our experience. I give myself permission, and you complete that sentence. What's it like to just allow that permission to be yourself, to be in this moment, this time? What's it like to let that really, really go in? Do you feel that in your body, in the space around you? Is it words you say? So just noticing. Maybe that's not right for today. Maybe you want to just set an intention to be friendly to yourself or to allow yourself a wish. It's okay, whatever is right for today. And now let's also set an intention to allow things to be released, let go of. And my hands immediately start making certain patterns of releasing, letting go as I set that intention. So it's kind of like an intention to know that at any time we can step into a wonderful clearing shower. This shower might be of water, of light, of energy, of love. This shower might be an intention shower. I allow things to let go, to release. It might be a breath shower. I release with my exhale. I invigorate. I awaken with my inhale. Just noticing how that releasing intention is for you. It's like I'm going to let go of anything I need to let go of for the next 15 minutes. And just notice if that shifts anything internally. You might find that you're occupying your body a little differently with that permission to be yourself and with that intention to let go of anything that doesn't serve, that's not helpful to you. And just notice if then it's easier to kind of go into the body, into the lower back, the seat, the hips, and imagine, feel, know that you're grounded, you're present, you're you're here. You have the earth element here in your system connecting you with Mother Earth. And just enjoy a few breaths in silence. As breathing happens, There might be an awareness of the meditator, your perspective, a thought, a feeling, a sensation. And as you notice that, slip into the practice's perspective and say, welcome. That's allowed. Okay, a thought happened. Yep, the mind thinks. And just breathing, being, allowing the silence here, the space of the practice. The practice has no checklist. The practice is just a time, a space, a quality. And whatever you notice, whether it's in the physical body or the emotional, your practice makes room for that. Your breath makes room. Your breath can deepen, expand, become shorter, whatever it needs to do. And everything is welcome. If it helps you to say the word allow or discover, sense, whatever word helps you, or perhaps there's no word, there's nothing. And you just easily notice now the practice's perspective. Perhaps you notice a guide or an angel also supporting you, the group's energy supporting you. And there might be a sense of releasing. There might be a noticing of a slowing down or an expanding, a resting, a quieting. Or there might be an awareness of a busyness, a fantasy, a thought, a feeling, a sensation, and it's all the same from the practice's point of view. The practice says, yes, you're safe here. Yes, you can return to your heart when you wish, to your lower body, to your breath. Yes, I welcome you. So there's no doing anything right or doing anything wrong. You're just easing into a greater deepening of your own inner being, your own presence. You're allowed to guide your awareness to a certain place in the mind or body or the breath. And you're also perfect in just having no concentration, instead, just a being, a witnessing, a space, the breath moving in and the breath moving out. the sensations being there, being witnessed. The warmth of your welcoming, that inner friendship. Notice what that's like right now. There's a place in the body where it's easiest to feel this inner friendship with yourself. The practice is your friend, the time, and you are your own friend. Do you notice it more in one place in the body? And wherever that is, maybe you imagine the color pink or a circle or a smile. And then just allowing that to expand out through the arms or the legs, going up or going down, circling you, that inner friendship. And just noticing the energy of the inner friendship. No right, no wrong. Just this moment, noticing or not noticing, it doesn't matter. Releasing or receiving, just being however you are is just perfect. And if there is something that you wish to breathe out with or breathe in with, let yourself do that. Allowing your body to be itself, a tension, a relaxation. It's all allowed. And let's just imagine for a moment, in our own way, the beauty of a star, a bright light. It might be in the sky, it might be inside you, you might feel it, you might say it, you might know it, you might imagine it. And as though you could, because you can, feel that bright light of the star. Imagine sending that starlight out in the world in some way, in some form, as a message of love, of acceptance, of friendship, going out anywhere or everywhere at once. And you can just say this internally: I send this starlight full of, and whatever you fill it with, I send it out. And as you send it out, just know that right now in this group, you're also being given this frequency of the starlight that you can breathe in and allow to fill you. And you can continue to send it out and just noticing what is here now. in this giving, what is here? And returning to that sense of the circle as you breathe, breathing in deeply, breathing out fully, and in your own way, connecting with the circle around you, above you, below you, perhaps with a beautiful color. Could be pink, it could be a rainbow. And just letting those circles surround you as you breathe. And if you want to set an intention in this circle to be yourself, to be friendly within yourself, welcoming, or some other intention in this sacred circle you've created. And let's just imagine for a moment that our inner friendship connects us all. So there's also this beautiful circle of connected friendship that goes all around the planet, all around that starlight. And it also travels inward in our body in some way, giving to our heart, our solar plexus, our belly. Maybe it travels down to the feet or up into the throat and the head. And just notice that inner friendship light. And when you're ready, let's bring the hands together. My hands, I drifted forward a little bit, so I don't know. I'm going to put my hands on my forehead. You can put your hands wherever you wish. Forehead, together at the heart level. And just take a moment to feel that connection between the hands, that connection with that inner alignment within you, the permission to be as you are, the permission, the experience of being the space of your practice. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. Sorry for the sound. I drifted quite a bit backwards. How are you guys? If anyone wants to share in the chat about their practice, if anyone has a question, a share, go ahead and raise your hand. I've got to move my little thingy so I see if there's a hands up. I don't see a hand up. That was a little bit of a different kind of practice, wasn't it? All right. Well, are we all in a kind of quiet space that is a little bit difficult? There's Joyce. Thank you, Joyce, for raising your hand. I'm feeling I'm in a quiet space.
Hi, hi. Yeah, I didn't want to end that meditation. I always think about what you said. You could just stay in that place. And then I'm like, oh, but like to hear all the shares. So I think I have to go back after and do another one. Maybe that would be better. Um, yeah, so today I had all these random things coming and going and coming and going. And it just made me realize how much our subconscious is working out all these things in our life that we're not even aware of. And just not evaluating the thought, or taking time to try to analyze it in the meditation, but just to let it come and then to let it flow out freely,
Yeah.
and just being that place of stillness. Um, yeah, it was wonderful.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I it's interesting because even when we think of ourselves as like not very self-judging or something, I think sometimes when we get quiet, we can find that we want to subtly change our experience all the time. And so I guess that's one of the gifts I think that doing this kind of slow acceptance practice might give us is that we stop wanting to argue with what is, and that just lets everything kind of dissolve and go. So, yeah. So I get what you mean, Joyce, about not wanting to stop when that happens. Um, yeah, and one of the reasons I wanted to talk about the practices point of view today is that to me that was when my teacher introduced that in meditation, that was a quick way to shift. If I was in a thought cycle or in a interpretation of the experience and I could just go, but what's the experience having about me or about this? I know it sounds so weird, but it's just like a really quick shift in perspective. And it usually, I think, ends up giving us a bit of space and stillness and freedom. But then the reason at the end that we come back to the hands together is because I don't want to leave anyone too kind of discombobulated or expanded, because that can happen too sometimes with meditation. You're walking around like seeing starlight everywhere, like, whoa, I didn't know the air was full of particles, or and it can really be like we're almost like we're tripping or stoned or something. So if any of you, I know many of you are students, many of you are guiding meditations or working with clients, and just know that in some way coming back to reality with hands together, or it's a hug, or it's the breath, it's grounding. You want people to return kind of down and home if they were really out there. Um, yeah. And I think also this theme of friendship, inner friendship, many of you are coaches. And I'm guessing you have found that oftentimes that inner friendship, whether you're a coach or not, that is really what people are missing. And so I guess if I had like one mission, it would be to help everyone become an inner friend. Outer friends are great too, but if we don't have the inner friend, it can feel like everyone on the outside is not a friend as well. Okay, Galia, hi. See if that's working.
Yes, hi, Magali
Hi.
and everyone. Thank you so much for tonight. For
Yeah.
me, I was stressed out because so many things I was doing today, and my brain at one point, I was feeling that it's just switching off. And tonight for me was so deep, and I really felt space out. And often during your meditations, I'm falling in deep sleep. And then I wake up and I hear what I'm supposed to hear or to do, and then go back. And now I feel really renewed. Healing appeared at one point. So I have problem with this wrist a while ago, and the pain just show up to show me that, just to remind me to ask for healing. And this inner connection also. Thanks so much for tapping on this inner friendship. It's very important, and you're very right, as you said, just before I start speaking, that the connection, and yes, being a coach and working with people, it is so important, because often actually we have enough reasons to be disconnected, but also our clients, and sometimes we are not that well engaged. Well, I'm not speaking about the majority, I'm speaking about myself. And yeah, this is very important. So thank you. And I want to hug you, all of you, tonight. That's quite good.
We all get that hug. Thank you for sharing. So good to see you here.
To see you all.
Okay, and Joan, good to have you back in group. How are you, Joan? I know you've had quite a month here. You wrote to me
well,
and
2
I
months,
appreciated
nine
that.
weeks. Yeah. And I still sort of in recovery from all of that. But
Yeah.
just again, so incredibly powerful, Magali, and absolutely awesome, and how things are happen just before you suggest them. And messages that I got, I felt I needed to share, because I think they're pertinent to everybody, not just to me. But when you got into the friendship part, I got this message just so incredibly loudly and clearly, is you must love yourself in order to love others effectively. It was really powerful. And then what was coming to me was barriers to that. So I was asking for, to get rid of the barriers to me loving myself. And then you talk about getting rid of the barriers. And then I felt this shower of white light, just this incredible shower. And then you brought in the shower idea of the different things that you could be showering in. And I felt myself in Iceland behind a waterfall, and the water just pouring down and cleansing. And then when you asked for the guides for a message, and just before that, I got just be my child. And it was just so incredibly powerful. And then when you said about the word, I had just before that got the word trust, just trust. And so, of course, my word was trust. And it was just so awesome in that I would be just that one step ahead of your direction and your guidance. And it's so affirming when that happens, when you bring in what I am experiencing. The light, I could not see a light. I didn't, but a pure white the whole time through, pure white, and then pure gold. Those two were there, usually the white above and the gold just below it. And then a little touch of blue. Yeah, when you were talking about the getting rid of the blocks, there was just a little touch of blue. But I felt that message I know it was a personal message. I know it was given to me, but I also know that it's a universal message. And that's what I felt I should be sharing.
Oh, thank you for sharing, Joan. I always appreciate your shares so much. Thank you. And I appreciate your letters too.
My internet going out isn't working. I have written a letter to you, and it won't go out for 2 weeks now. I can't email out. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got some emails in the past month. I know. Thank you.
Since I've been home, my email's not going out. I get them in, so I appreciate all that come from you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, be well. Thank you so much for sharing. And Lavana, hi.
Hi, thank you, Magali. I love it. It was beautiful. We have a part within us that I resist. And that's what always I try to change within me. And while we did this meditation, I just embraced it. And I know that it's part of me, it's a whole. So not to resist it, just to accept it and to welcome it instead of resisting it. So it was beautiful. It was integration.
That's so interesting that for you it's like a part. Yeah. And I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. For me, it's like, I guess we all have our own ways of relating that. So for me, usually, and it's good to know kind of what is for each of us, if you had to name it, what is the thing that stops you from just 5 minutes of of some practice? Is there any one thing? Like for me, it's a sensation of like inner busyness, I would say, that I have to feel, connect, allow, and settle down. And probably because I'm outwardly busy quite a lot of the time. But what is it for you? I really want to know. Like, can people share? You know, for some, it might be quite quite physical. I know, I don't know if I've shared with you guys, like last summer I sprained both ankles, and the pain of having two sprained ankles was really quite a barrier for me to practicing. And you know, yesterday I tweaked one ankle again, and it was like a real reminder of that. I'm okay. I'm quite well right now, but um sometimes it's our body, sometimes it's one thought, one worry. And so I do find that when we can say, just for 5 minutes, just for 10 minutes, like let this be a little inner vacation in a way. Um, yeah, and someone mentioned like feel guilty to stop and take time for me. And yeah, for some it might be, I know exactly what you mean about that, feeling um guilty to stop and take time for oneself. Yeah. Or, yeah, I had a good friend who said to me once, I never forgot this. We had young kids at the time. This was like 15 years ago. Her name's Melissa. And I can remember Melissa with big red hair. She was like a hair sister with me. She had big red hair. And she said to me, you know what, Magley, the thing is, if I just sit down, I'll stop and not be able to get back up. We had little kids at the time. So I just never sit down all day long until I collapse at night, because if I sat down, I would just not be able to start again. And sometimes that's the fear in some subtle way. If I settle down, if I really love myself, then what would have to change? Or what would I not be able to do? We don't think, what would I be capable of? How much could I love? How much could I give? How much could I heal? Usually the voice is a little bit more fearful about stopping and loving ourselves. So it's interesting to get to know that without, if you can, I know it's hard, but without too much judgment, just curiosity. Oh, what is that? You know, asking yourself, for me, is it a little shame? Is it a little guilt? Is it a little anxiety? Is it overwhelm? What is it? And and then we can work with it, because it's pretty hard to just do stuff without being aware of where that resistance is. But once we just even name it, name that resistance a little bit, it can be then easier to say, okay, that's true. I accept that. And I want to just enter this space of practice for 5 or 10 minutes and see what happens. All right, guys, thank you for practice today. And it does make it easier to be all together, and it does make it easier when we have a time of day. I've been playing around with this thought that how do I personally, or us as a group or whatever, show up consistently for 100 days? What would that be like? I know that's big, 100 days, but I'm thinking about that because I'm not one of those, my practice, other than like right when I wake up in the morning, I'm not one of those like 10 a.m. time to practice. It's more like I fit it in during the day, but usually right when I wake up or right when I'm going to sleep. Those are the two key times.
Mm.
But what would it be like to have that real consistency of, could I do it? Could I do 100 days of 8 a.m. showing up for a 20-minute practice? I don't know if I could, but I ask you to see if you could, if you would want to do that for yourself. I like that, game on. I love that. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day or evening or afternoon. Take care, everybody. Bye.